What is up guys, it is Sean here and welcome back to a brand new video. I know it's been a while, but like I said in a couple of posts, I've had tons of stuff going on and I've slowly but surely working on plans for the channel and just other bits and pieces, but we're finally back. We've got some content for you guys and it's good to be back. I'm not gonna lie, I've missed it. But anyway, we are back and we've got some content all lined up, so I'm pretty excited to be back into it and start getting some videos rolling again. I've got some really exciting stuff coming, but anyway, we're going to hop straight into today's video because it's been long enough since I've actually made a video. Today we're going to be talking about the new Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which was announced very recently. If you hadn't heard about it yet, there was a live stream on, I think it was the 10th or the 11th of May, where they announced a new game and they showed us some gameplay and a reveal trailer. It's got the guy from The Punisher in it, I think John something, I always forget his name, but he's from The Punisher. He's also in Walking Dead. He was Shane from The Walking Dead. Super cool actor, so that was an exciting thing to see. But primarily in this video we're going to be talking about the gameplay changes and how it's going back to its traditional Ghost Recon roots and also keeping that open world craziness of Wildlands. And if it's pulled off correctly, I think this could potentially be an absolutely incredible masterpiece of a game, because I am a fan more so of the old school classic Ghost Recon games, but I also absolutely had a blast with Wildlands. Wildlands became one of my favourite games, and it started off as one of my least favourite games, so it was like a surprise hit for me. So to see them combining the two sort of eras of Ghost Recon is incredibly exciting, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it plays out, and I cannot wait for October when it launches. So if you're at this point scratching your head or just curious about what changes are coming to Ghost Recon, essentially they are turning and flipping it on its head as opposed to Wildlands, in which they claim you are now the hunted and not the hunter. So it's all about the ghosts being pushed to their breakpoint, as the name suggests, and it's all about survival. They have actually got a military advisor and someone who's in special forces, and I am excited about that, but at the same time I have to see how that plays out, because there's been military advisors in tons of games that haven't exactly done that great. Just to name a few, Medal of Honor had one. I think the latest one is a Warfighter, or whichever one was the latest Medal of Honor was was written by special forces people. And also Call of Duty, funny enough, regularly has military advisors in, and that game is far from realistic. So we'll see how that one plays out. But what he was saying sounded really interesting, but he was talking about, you know, how to deal with soldiers that are having depression, PTSD, injuries, basically being how it feels to be pushed as far as you can go, which is something that's not often touched in games, and it's very, very hard to get right and do it tastefully, because some of these things, although they are going to make for interesting gameplay features, are also genuine, serious things that have to be thought about. Like, these are things that people go through that are horrifying, who have come from war. So to do this in a game, I think you've really got to be careful with it, and the fact that they have got actual military advice is definitely a good thing, because to go and do this, like, you know, to like freeball this style of thing could potentially be incredibly insulting. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that, because games that try this, I'm not going to lie, regularly fail at trying to show not just the instant effects of being in a war, like being shot, but like the after effects, the emotional drain. Like, games that try to achieve that normally are pretty bad at doing it tastefully. So it will be interesting to see how they manage that. But going back to gameplay, I think it's going to basically overhaul the entire gameplay of Ghost Recon. It's going to be completely different. For instance, now if you look at the trailer, one of the things that I picked up straight away is that when you get shot in Wildlands, the screen just goes red and you're like, oh, I've been shot. In Wildlands, depending on where you get shot, your character will stumble and it will have a potentially permanent effect depending on how much damage received. So you might be limping. If you take too much damage to your leg, you might fall over and not be able to walk properly. All these little features, and you need to heal them up with bandages, or I think I saw morphine in the trailer as well, things like that. So you get these semi-permanent effects instead of just, you know, a red screen that then goes back to normal once you rest for a bit. So taking damage now is actually a thing that's going to cause you some problems. So if you're trying to escape enemies and you're running away and someone hits you in the leg with a sniper, and that might immobilize you, which then means either if you're not completely out of it, you can try and crawl your way out of that situation, or if you have a friendly around and you're completely incapacitated, there's a new feature which allows the friendlies to pick you up and they can carry you out of there. So it's like all these little features that are aiming for a more realistic and survival based experience, and I think it's definitely going to shake up the gameplay and make it feel a little bit more like the classics. There is one thing that's missing from the classic games, which I'll talk about in a minute, which I'm a little bit upset about, but I mean, gameplay wise, it's definitely going back to a more hardcore route, which I'm all about, because I absolutely loved those days of Ghost Recon. They are also introducing food and hunger and thirst. You know how to manage your hunger and thirst by eating and drinking. It's not going to be full-on survival where if you don't eat you just die, or at least I don't think so. They didn't say too much about it. I must admit, I watched the live stream when I was very tired, but I believe it's basically more of a stat-based thing where, you know, you might struggle to aim as well if you're really thirsty, you might not be able to run for as long, you know, generic things like that. Just a little feature on the side that reminds you that, you know, you're trying to survive in this new world and not just play around in it entirely, which I think is... I'm going to go back to it, I've said this a few times, but a massive open world game with these kind of features to the level of polish that Wildlands was, I don't think has ever been done before. And I really think if they do this right, it could be incredibly unique, something completely different that hasn't been seen before. And I think it's incredibly exciting. Now, the one thing that I am disappointed about, because they seem to be going full on, you know, with the classic Ghost Recon style and also fan feedback, one thing they haven't brought back, in fact entirely removed, which upsets me, is if you play solo you will have no AI teammates. Now, the AI in Wildlands was not great. It was far from great. They were really bad. They were just bullet sponges that ran in the open and didn't really do anything, and you had very little control over them. That being said, I would rather there be something than nothing, because they are now saying that if you're... What doesn't make sense to me is they're saying that in terms of the story, you're the last person alive, so that's why there's no AI teammates. That's their well, they mainly said they removed AI because people didn't like them, but they're saying in terms of the narrative, they removed them because you're the last sole survivor. But then later on, they're like, oh, but it can be played up to 4-player co-op, so it's like... Well, you're not the last survivor then, so there's no reason to remove the AI because you're clearly not the only survivor if you can play 4-player co-op, because there's got to be 3 other people you can play as. So the thing I'm worried about is that it sounds more like, to me, that they couldn't get the AI to work the way that the community wanted to do, because the community never said they straight up didn't want AI. They said after many months, please give us the option to turn off the AI because the AI suck. Now, to me that says, like, please improve it for the next game, not remove it, but they've basically just said no AI at all. Now, Ghost Recon has always been a squad-based tactical shooter. It's never been a lone wolf survival game. That was more Splinter Cell, like where it was, you know, sole person taking down a whole army by yourself, which is what this is. You're taking down like an entire island worth of army. I can't even speak. And that's not Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon's always been about planning and squad-based stuff, which, to be fair, Wildlands wasn't even, but at least the squad was there. And so I'd say I'll just miss like the small bits of like banter and chat between the members while you're there, just reminding you that you're not alone in this ginormous world, because that's one thing both of these games have, Wildlands and the new one, is the world is absolutely huge, and having to travel that by yourself completely in solo is going to be probably a little bit boring at times, because there's going to be nothing going on, no one talking, no one chatting. And the thing is, all they had to do was just take the AI from like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, where you could command them to specific locations against walls and things like that, and it would have been fine. Like that to me was the best sort of command system they had. I know people prefer the classic Ghost Recon, like the originals where it was very in depth, but I don't think that has a place in today's style of games. I mean, even Advanced Warfighter's command system is going to need to be tweaked massively to fit into an open world game to the size of Breakpoint and Wildlands. But like they've already shown that the system in that game was what people liked and enjoyed, and it was easy to use. So instead of just scrapping it completely, all they had to do was make some tweaks. And Division 2 has also shown that their AI is getting better. The AI in Division 2 is actually very good. And like, so they can do it. I just don't understand why they've decided to remove it. I think it's just to save time and focus on other features, which in a game that is known for being a squad-based shooter, I think is a weird way to allocate your time. That should be a priority for this style of game. And honestly, it is very disappointing, and it's sad because I am beyond excited for this game. Like, I cannot wait. But that one thing is really like, I'm not so sure on that. I think that was a really bad decision on their part. At the end of the day, I play mostly in co-op, so I'm sure when it launches I won't even notice it, but I know there's going to be at least one time where I play in solo and I'm going to be like, this isn't as fun without having just some people for company, even if they're still a bit dumb, like just some company. But anyway, that is pretty much everything about the game. It's just my opinions on this, just talking about what I think of the new Breakpoint. One final note, it is launching with PvP as well, so you guys know I love my PvP games, so I'll definitely be giving that a go. Hopefully the realistic injuries and stuff carries over into PvP, because that could make for a pretty unique experience as well. Something that hasn't really been addressed in multiplayer games much, so I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Anyway, if you guys are excited for this game, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking about the AI in particular, because I know lots of people are excited about the other features because they are basically community requested features from Wildlands. But the AI is something that I think a lot of people are on the fence about, so let me know in the comments what you think of them removing AI entirely. Do you agree with it or not? I want to see what you guys think and get a bit of a conversation going. Anyway guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, then please do smack that like button and subscribe for some more awesome content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.